Welcome back to BBC World News. I'm Karin Giannoni. Japan has chosen a new design for the stadium that will host the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. It's by the Japanese architect Kengo Kuma and features a traditional Japanese wooden roof to blend in with the leafy surroundings. Although some critics say it looks like a stack of pancakes. The 80,000-seat stadium is estimated to cost just over $1.2 billion. But that actually is a cheaper, more understated plan replacing the original design by British-Iraqi architect Zaha Hadid. Her futuristic vision would have been one of the most expensive venues ever built, with an expected cost of some $2 billion. Well, with me is Oliver Wainwright, an architecture and design critic for The Guardian newspaper. Oliver, what do you think of the whole decision?
I'm very pleased, actually, that they've scrapped the original design and chosen this new one, which to me is a kind of model of lightweight, lean engineering. It could be the first timber Olympic stadium in the world, and it references the kind of tradition of Japanese joinery and wooden structures, and I think fits much more in the parkland setting.
Plenty of greenery there on the
exactly, yeah, it's going to be covered in plants, and hopefully after the Olympics, you'd think the park might be able to take over the structure and almost engulf it back into nature. So to me, it's a really exciting proposition, and unlike anything that's ever been done before for an Olympic stadium.
It certainly is. I mean, what went wrong in the whole design process and the choosing of the design, then the changing of minds? It's not the most auspicious start.
No, it's the same old sorry saga that so many cities kind of fall into this trap. The way the International Olympic Committee selects cities is all based on image. So every city tries to have a more glamorous stadium than the next, and they're always very unrealistic visions. And so Zaha Hadid's
this is what we were looking at
design, yeah, it was this futuristic spaceship, that was going to land in the middle of the city in what is actually a very historic area that has building height limits. This would have broken all of the rules.
In a low-rise area, this is going high-tech.
Yeah,
Tokyo,
like something out of Star Wars. It's just kind of landed in the middle of this park. All the locals were up in arms against it. The entire Japanese architectural profession kind of protested against it and launched a petition to have it scrapped. And to my mind, they left it far too late. They let this project go on for several years of design development and only scrapped it at the last minute. So now, 5 years before the Olympics is about to happen, they're kind of scrabbling around, trying to come up with an alternative.
So the stack of pancakes, the pile of plates is what we're going to get.
I think it's a relatively elegant pile of plates. It does have similarities to a pile of plates with salad leaves emerging from the levels. But I think it's an improvement on what to me was a far too overscaled and forceful design.
Now, tell me about sort of memorable stadia of recent history. We've had the Beijing's Bird Nest, we've had the London 2012 stadium. I mean, how big are the challenges with all these different factors?
Yeah, well, every city is worried about ending up with the ultimate white elephant. The way Athens 2004, they spent £7 billion on this Olympic campus, which is now a complete wasteland. If you go, there's kind of tumbleweed rolling through the stadium itself. People feared the Bird's Nest in Beijing would be the same, but if you go to Beijing now, you realise it has become this kind of national monument. There are queues of people just going to see the sites where China was centre of the world stage. And it hosts these kind of spectacular multimedia performances as well as athletic events. So to me, that's actually a successful example. London 2012 was very interesting because
here it is.
Yeah, we tried to avoid the kind of white elephant monument, and we said we would come up with a lean, flat pack, almost like a Meccano kit, which after the Olympics would be taken down and maybe sent off to the next Olympic host city. So a nice idea on paper. That didn't quite happen. It ended up costing £500 million. It's now had another £300 million spent on it to convert it into a football stadium. So, the original vision never quite happened, and that's often the way with these mega projects.
You say it's often the way. I mean, is it ever any different?
There are very few, actually, that have been successful models, and Tokyo really had the opportunity to do something different, because on the site where they're building this new stadium, they already had a stadium from 1964, and they could have added a little wing and increased the capacity, but instead there was this kind of urge, to do something new and iconic and something that's going to put them back on the map, which every city
So
falls
whenever
for.
an architect comes up with a plan and says this is how much it's going to cost, you need to add, what, 30%, 40%?
You can guarantee, and especially Zaha Hadid's designs, I mean, they always spiral out of control. London Aquatic Centre, so the swimming pool that we built for the 2012 Olympics, also a Zaha Hadid design, ended up costing 3 times the original budget. An amazing building now, yeah.
We are going to have to leave it there. Oliver Wainwright, thank you very much indeed for coming by.